We're seated for Daisy Girl Summer. This is Daisies.
Yeah, who will have the album of the summer? Did you get into Charlie XCX last year? Are you into that?
Not too much.
Yeah, it's kind of not 100% my thing. I tried.
There are certain songs I really like.
Yeah.
But...
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to Seen and Heard. This is the podcast all about the Sight and Sound greatest films of all time list. I'm Greg.
I'm Jackie.
And we are on the list this week, ping-ponging back and forth. If you didn't know, we're on the 2022 list. It's probably like 6 movies in for us on the new list, something like that, after finishing the 2012. And
Sight and Sound list.
Sight and Sound list. No, just someone's list from a GeoCities site online.
It's an IMDb list.
Yeah. What? I didn't write what number this was. This is the
28.
top. Oh, okay. So yeah, we ping-pong between the top and the bottom, skipping the ones that we already covered for the 2012 list. Mm-hmm. So we're at number 28, Daisies.
Yeah.
But before we get into Daisies, Jackie, first of all, there's something you wanted to tell me. Maybe you can fold that into what you've been watching also.
It is what I've been watching. I watched The Music Lovers.
Oh my God.
On the same day you did.
Oh, really?
I saw you logged it and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Well, it's as of recording, it's the film club movie this week.
Really?
Yeah, because we're going through all of Ken Russell's composer movies.
You're
Not all of them.
Making everyone.
I know. I've been holding off this whole time and people are like, Greg, do you want to do some Ken Russell? I'm like, yeah, but I don't. Anyway, so yeah, we're doing a month of Ken Russell, but specifically just the composer movies.
That's
and
cool.
We're tracing his career through those films chronologically to see how Ken Russell evolves over just the composer films.
Yeah.
Because he made like 10 of them.
That's crazy to me.
But I want to hear your thoughts on The Music Lovers.
It's so good. I love it. I love that it's like kind of like just it's more like a ballet than an opera. I was going to say opera, but it's more a ballet because it's so much movement to music. And
do you like Glenda Jackson in it?
She's so good. She's so good, but like it's a lot. I could see someone not liking. Like it's not like one of those movies where I'm like, "Oh my God, it's like an objective masterpiece." It's like, no, you kind of have to be okay with like going a little cuckoo.
Yeah.
But she's great, of course. They're very provocative movies, and they're very, but I mean, they're so good.
They're a sledgehammer. They're like he makes sledgehammer movies, but he does it really intelligently and with a lot of nuance.
Yeah, that's the only thing I watch.
Yeah. Hey, listen, you're watching TV. I get it. I haven't watched that much either.
Oh yeah, what? Only like 5?
Well, I watched that Pee Wee is Himself documentary that's on Max, which was great.
Yeah.
It's like over 3 hours long. It's in 2 parts, but they interviewed him like a year before he passed away and no one knew he was sick. We actually tried to get him on the show.
Yeah.
It's just surreal to see all this footage of him like a year before he passed and he knew what was happening, but no one else did. And it was really powerful. And I think he was arrested in the early 90s. And I think that like really overshadowed the rest of his career. And I think what he was arrested for was so minimal and that it was more just sort of our homophobic country just damning him because he was a children's host. It's really sad. But the documentary is really well done. Actually, the Safdies produced it. And then, like you, I also we watched The Music Lovers on the same day, which is an all-timer. And then I saw the producers on the big screen.
Oh, cool.
I hadn't seen this in like 10 or 15 years. I used to love the original Mel Brooks one. And it was playing, and I convinced Molly and my friend to go, who hadn't seen it. And kind of nervous, like, is this as funny as I remember it? And then like they loved it. And I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
But it's so good. It's so good.
I've actually never seen it.
Oh, it's hilarious. It's so well done. And like Gene Wilder is at his manic best. Zero Mostel is amazing. And of course, Dick Shawn is so fucking funny in it. So yeah, it's really good. That's me.
Cool.
Should we just get into this week's film?
Yes.
From 1966. This is Věra Chytilova's Daisies.
was released in 1966. It was directed by Věra Chytilová, co-written by Chytilová and Esther Krumbachova, who also served as costume designer. Cinematography by Jaroslav Kucera. Music by Jiří Sliter. The film follows two young women, Marie 1 and Marie 2, who decide that since the world is bad, they are also going to be bad. They go on lavish dinner dates with older men, but ditch them on the train once they're done with the meal. They cause a ruckus in a nightclub after getting drunk. They steal from a friendly bathroom attendant. They consume a lot of food, attempt suicide, and cut each other up while cutting pictures of food out of magazines. Eventually, they end up at a big banquet, which they absolutely destroy. After landing in the ocean and almost drowning, they repent their ways and attempt to put the banquet back together. As they give up their bad behavior, a chandelier falls and kills them both. The film ends with a dedication to those whose sole source of indignation is a trampled-on trifle. The film stars Jitka Cherhova as Marie 1, the brunette, and Ivana Karbanova as Marie 2, the blonde. The footage at the start of the film is archival footage from the U.S. Pacific Campaign in World War II. The film was made in the Czechoslovak Socialist Republic. It is considered one of the vital films of the Czech New Wave. The script was approved by the state, however, upon its release, Chytilová and her film were accused of being nihilistic, and that the gluttony and consumerism in the film were fundamentally against socialist values. The film was pulled from theaters and banned for over a year, but it did win the grand prize at the Bergamo Film Festival in Italy. The two women who act in the film are non-professionals. Marie 2 was a sales clerk and Marie 1 was a student. The cinematographer, Kucera, was Chytilová's husband. The film was well received in Europe, but not so much in the United States. In 1968, there were a series of reforms which allowed the Czech New Wave to thrive, but the Soviet Union invaded the CSR, the Czechoslovak Socialist Republic, and it became an official Soviet satellite state, which technically they were independent, but the government was pretty much run by the USSR. In the aftermath of this, there were harsher restrictions on the media and the press, and Chytilová was banned from filmmaking for 7 years. During this time, she worked under her husband's name. In the 70s, she was invited to attend the Year of Women Film Festival in the US, but the government didn't allow her to go. They asked if Daisies could be screened at the film festival, but she didn't have an uncensored print in her possession. Due to foreign pressure, after this, her ban on filmmaking was lifted.
Wow.
And that's all the specs available, really. There isn't much about like the actual production of this movie.
I feel like with a lot of Czech films from this time, that's kind of the case.
Yeah.
They were made under mysterious circumstances.
Yeah. Who wants to do initial thoughts first?
Why don't you go first? Because I know that you'd seen this before.
Yeah, this is my second time seeing this. If I had to describe the film in one word, this came to me. I forgot what they were doing as I was watching it. And I'm just like, zany. This movie is zany.
Yeah.
They remind me of Thing 1 and Thing 2 from The Cat in the Hat.
That might be...
And they're even like Marie 1 and Marie 2.
Yeah.
I love the technical craftsmanship in this movie. Like, I love the floating heads. I love the way it swims from one scene into the next with no regard to narrative at all. Like, it's the only way to make a movie about not living by the rules, is to make this like perfectly radical movie. I really like it, but I don't love it. And I'm not sure why. I feel like this is a film I'm supposed to love. And maybe if I revisit it over the years, I might. I feel the same way now as I did like the first time I saw it. I just kind of get tired of it after a while. Like, I don't know. And I'm all for the takedown of men. I love that. But I think because the narrative is so loose, I kind of lose interest after a while. But then the banquet happens and it's like so much to look at. And it's like, okay, it's somewhere like right before the banquet that it gets a little flat for me, maybe. But I love, like I said, the craftsmanship. Like, I love the collage. I love the colors. I love the tricks. I'm not mad that this is an iconic movie. I think it's really cool that this is an iconic art house movie.
Do you think it should be on the list?
I don't think it should be number 28. That's kind of high.
Yeah, coming from not being on it at all.
Yeah. What about you?
So this was my first time. I had sat down to watch this maybe sometime in the last 10 years. I can't pinpoint exactly when, but I think I saw the first 5 or 10 minutes and I was just like, oh, this isn't what I was expecting. And I'm not ready for this right now. Like I just wasn't in the mood. So I turned it off. So that was my only knowledge of this movie. But I know that people love it. And especially in the last 5, 6, 7 years, I think it was a big deal before that, but I think you can even see with its Criterion history, I think it used to be in one of those sets called like Pearls of the Czech New Wave, which was like a DVD only set. And then it got its own Criterion like Blu-ray. So I think it kind of shows like it's kind of on this box set shuffled in with other movies. And then it came out and people, so I think its stature has grown exponentially in the last like decade or so. But I loved it. Yeah, you're right. There's no through line really.
At all.
There's no through line, but I think once you embrace that, it's a lot of fun. And I think the key about it is that it's fun.
Exactly. I agree.
Czech New Wave, some of my favorite movies come from, but also some that I have trouble with. Like, have you seen Valerie and Her Week of Wonders?
No. I
love the idea of that movie. And every time I think about it, I'm like, oh, I love that movie. But then I go back and watch it. And I've seen it a handful of times. And I'm like, I don't know. This doesn't fully like sit right with me. Also, it's a little weird because it's a male director and it's about a girl, losing her innocence, young girl. This doesn't have any of the creepy stuff.
No.
And it's just playful. And I think I hate to do this. And while I was watching the movie, I was like, I hate that I'm going to have to even say this, but I have to say it. This is like what a Godard film should be. Like this is Pierre Le Fou. Like this is I'm get out of this what I should have gotten out of Pierre Le Fou, but I don't.
I don't see them related.
In terms of just completely taking apart film and doing anything and everything you want with it and making it into this collage and like you don't see the similarities in that both films kind of shift color tints and like
totally
do really
but
playful
that one has
things.
Like a real narrative. Yeah. And I'm not saying it's bad to not have a narrative. This not having a narrative is not what I think. I think that maybe that's why, like, kind of somewhere in the middle, I'm like, okay, maybe. I don't know.
Right.
But I think it's also a great time. Like,
I think, too, the key is that it's like 75 minutes long. Because if this is long, even if it was 90, you'd be like, oh, okay. Yeah. But I think at 75 minutes, it's just short enough to where, like, it's so frivolous.
Yeah.
But also it's saying something really important, and it's made in a country and in a time when this was a really powerful statement.
I absolutely agree.
And it's so gleefully feminist too. It's like you said, it's like the only guys in this movie are like the guys they're taking advantage of, and these kind of like disgusting older guys who like
who basically think if they take them out to dinner, they're gonna have sex with them.
Exactly.
Yeah. Which is great. I love all that. I love that. Here's what she said about the movie, because the movie has a lot of implications and people like hail it as like a feminist movie. They hail it as like a kind of like anti-stereotypes, she was actually anti-consumerism. And so I think some people interpret it as like, okay, let's just make these stereotypes like so big where it's like we're playing a joke. So, but here's what she said, and she wasn't forced to say this. This was like after all the political stuff was behind her. She said, Daisies was a morality play, showing how evil does not necessarily manifest itself in an orgy of destruction caused by the war, that its roots may lie concealed in the malicious pranks of everyday life. I chose as my heroines 2 young girls because it is at this age that one most wants to fulfill oneself, and, if let to one's own devices, his or her need to create can easily turn into its very opposite. Which is completely not the reading I feel like most people get from this movie.
Right, in that it's like a celebration.
Yes, which is really interesting. Like, she wasn't a materialist, and she did believe in socialism. Obviously, she was critical of the Czech government and the USSR, but she was at her heart a socialist. And this kind of like, I love this as that anti-morality tale against mandated socialist realism that everyone was supposed to be making back then in these governments. But this reading of destruction and evil, I think is really interesting. Like, the world is bad, so we're going to be bad. And it's almost like, look at what happens if 2 women act like the leaders of the world.
Right.
They do all the things like men in power do. They exploit people. They're gluttonous. They're greedy. They're stealing. So it's like, and it does open with images of the war, like open and close with it. So I just think that that's really interesting that it's essentially that. It's like, okay, the world's bad. We're going to be bad. And obviously it's fun. But if
then they get their comeuppance.
Yeah, and then they get their comeuppance. But they're basically acting like men in power.
Yeah. See, I think it goes to my theory that an artist doesn't always necessarily have the most accurate take on their own work.
Which is so funny.
Because I don't see it that way at all. Like, oh, look at what monsters they're being.
Exactly.
It's more just a big middle finger.
That's what most people, and it is, like, it's like, look what happens under totalitarianism, let's say. Like, it's like, okay, we're going to go against everything that's like good and socialist and whatever. But it's interesting that she said that about it. And then at the end, it's like, if we work hard, we'll be happy and good. And that's communism. And like, they keep saying that. And like, then they get killed. So it's like, what is she saying, really?
Interesting. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think with a film like this, too, it's impossible to ascertain exactly, because it is so
super surrealist,
free-flowing.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I love that about it. It's that you can read it in so many different ways. And you can read it as a celebration. And yeah.
Well, I think one of the reasons this movie has kind of entered the conversation is because you can even watch it from just a purely stylistic level.
Yeah.
And revel in all the things she's doing with film. And I think right down to the scene where they're cutting each other up with scissors and they become little cutouts and then they start cutting the film itself. It's like, this is editing. You're literally
really cool.
now cutting the actual film.
Yes.
So it's just like everything.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
What about the fact that like the transitions are so wild?
Yes.
Like I love when it's very early on. I think it's Marie 1 is the brunette. Literally slaps Marie 2 into color. It's so good.
Yes, exactly.
And they end up in this field. And then even like mid-sentence transitions to new scenes, completely new. Like they're in that field, she picks a piece of fruit, which I love that whole like forbidden fruit metaphor. And then they're in their room and she's like, what are you chewing on? And it's the seed. So it's like literal like mid-sentence. We're going to something completely new.
Which is brilliant, I think.
It's so good. Yeah. And then like one time they're in their room and there's that clock that's clicking, that's ticking. And then with every tick, like the color changes and we're in a new tableau, like we're at the beach. There's another one where they're at the club. I think it's the club after hours. And Marie 2 is sitting on the stool and Marie 1 like pulls her leg and then it match cuts of them sitting in front of like a mirror. Do you remember that?
Yeah, uh-huh.
It's just super cool. And then of course all these collages, like it'll start from a cutout of a magazine and take you somewhere completely new.
Yes. No, I mean, that's so much of the charms of the movie, the tableaus. Yeah, there's one where they're like on a pier and then there's a guy behind them that's like on his side posing, but because he's further back, they're using kind of forced perspective. He just looks like a tiny man.
Yeah, that's so funny.
But there's so many. I think that's the charm of this movie is that you sense, and it's to go against what you just said about what she thought about her own film, but there's such a joy here and there's such a kind of buoyancy as opposed to, again, I hate, this is the last time I promise, but a Godard where you get the sense when you're watching a Godard film that he's just there kind of like seething. This is like so full of joy and kind of frivolity. I think that's what really comes across because it's like,
I think the frivolity was intentional. Like even so she said she's talking about like evil and all that. Like I think it's absolutely intentional.
Yeah,
like,
no, for sure. I think too, what I love about this movie, it opens, you said like the stock footage from the war or whatever, but it specifically cuts back and forth between these gears.
Yes.
And I almost felt that the whole film was powered by these gears. Like the gears, like the whole movie's kind of like steam powered and the energy is coming from these gears. And it kind of set up this like motif in the beginning. And especially when you're first introduced to the two of them and they're both sitting there and they're like puppets. And every time they move, you hear,
yeah.
What an energy this movie has.
Yeah.
And just a willingness to just do everything. It's kind of a kitchen sink movie, right? It's like you could almost imagine this being made up as she's making it. I don't know that that's the case, but it kind of feels that way in like the best possible way.
Yeah. Let's talk about just like them being bad. I love that the apples keep coming back in this whole like the first part where they're like picking fruit off the tree, and then these apples keep returning as like a motif. But a lot of these episodes, especially the dining ones, they feel like Chaplin movies without the gags.
Yeah. Totally.
They don't really have gags though. Like the joke is just that they keep eating and exploiting these men. But there's exceptions, like the train with the old man. Do you remember when he gets off and they're on, and the way it's shot? Like, it's really just like a Chaplin movie.
Yeah.
Even the music. And then the supper club, like when they get drunk and they get kicked out and one of them drinks wine off the table of someone else. It's like so just like silent comedy.
Yeah. Well, I think it does what I think it's using all of the tools available to it at the time it was made. So it comes out in 1966. There's a little of everything here. There's some 60s psychedelia. There's some silent film, and there's everything in between. And I think that's like, to go off a movie we did an episode on, Moulin Rouge, which I think when that came out, that's also using all of the tricks available to it at the time it comes out, and kind of Bollywood and this and that. And it's like, this really feels like this amalgamation of just like the 20th century pop art, everything distilled into one movie.
And I do see...
Feels like a transmission from another place, too. I think that's like the most striking.
A transmission from another place?
Yeah.
Like another planet?
Could be.
I like that. I get a John Waters feel as well.
John Waters?
When they're eating all that food and it's like kind of disgusting, and the egg especially.
The egg. You know what's funny is the food always starts off looking really good, and then as they kind of decimate it more and trample on it, and then it just gets disgusting.
Yeah, for sure.
But also there's like weird shit in here too. I don't know what they were eating in the Soviet Union in the 60s, but there's some dishes where I'm like, it looks good, but also what the fuck is that?
Well, I like the part where they're eating all the phallic food.
Oh, yeah.
That's fun. That's what I meant with John Waters, because they're like chopping it up and eating these eggs.
Yeah, I can see that a little bit.
Almost cutting a toe off.
Edith Massey and Pink Flamingos is the egg lady.
I agree. The food is it looks good. Like that, even the pickle, like when she first crunches the pickle, I'm like, I want one of those.
Hell yeah.
Pickles.
I love pickles. A pickle spear.
It's so good.
I want one right now. Maybe that should be the next episode, is we have pickle spears
just
while
crunching.
Recording.
And then when they're cutting out the food from the magazine.
Yes.
But what about the moments where they actually get kind of deep, where they're like, there's no proof you exist.
Yeah.
Go to work. You don't have any ID. And then they go somewhere. Where did they go? And they're like, well, that guy didn't see us. Like, maybe we're not real.
Maybe they aren't.
They're not. Ennui, apparently.
They're film characters.
Yeah.
They're in a movie.
Yeah.
I guess they never really break the fourth wall in this, though.
Not really. Of course, it would end in a food fight. Like, that is like the perfect ending, that banquet and the food fight. It's like perfect finale.
Goes on for quite a while, too.
Yeah, it's long.
Yeah.
And they're just eating. Like, it looks like they're actually eating.
No, I felt bad for them, because it's like, to eat that amount of food, doing multiple takes and...
Yeah,
it's a lot.
The steak tartare.
Yeah.
The egg.
You're wincing. You don't like steak tartare?
I love it.
Oh.
I don't want to smash an egg with my hands, though, in it. I love tartare. I love how in Europe, like, steak tartare is considered lunch. Like, you go to Paris and like they have lunch specials. Like, oh, you can have the steak tartare. That's your whole meal. Just bread and steak tartare.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah. But they don't fuss around with all these sides. And I do like a side, though. But yeah, they really, as soon as I kind of figured out that the final feast, it was like the climax of the movie, I was like, okay, I'm into this. Because it starts off as just another episode.
Yeah.
But then it's like, as they kind of, the stages of that final feast where they come in and they just see it and there's a sense of wonder and they're just kind of eyeing things and then a little taste here and there. And now they're really going for it. And now they're totally picking out. And now they're stepping on it and they're swinging from the chandelier. And it's like the escalation of that is pretty great.
And then they're in the ocean.
Almost
drowning.
Yeah.
Then when they try and put it back together, it's fun too. But then they die anyway.
Yeah.
You could read into this a lot of different ways. Like, she has said that she does believe in socialism, but I guess she's just like trying to, all of the accusations against her, or like the extremes maybe of socialism, is like, that is what she's, by making them so crazy and so stereotypical, it's like turning it on its heels, or trying to make a statement about, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Just being so strict.
Yeah. Sometimes it's hard to do an episode on these films that are so kind of like open-ended and open to interpretation, because you don't want to come on here and offer some definitive sentence that's going to unlock the whole movie, because it's not a movie you like unlock. It's like a movie that you just experience. And I think the context in which it was made offers some explanation and some depth there, but ultimately it's a sensory experience.
Yeah.
You know?
What did you think of the butterfly scene?
Oh, I loved it.
Me too. I really like that.
Yeah. No, that was beautiful. When the movie started doing those kind of like collages of images that would just rapidly cut on screen, I was like, oh.
It's really fun.
Yeah, really fun.
And then when they set the fire, they're like, well, what else can we do? Fire.
Yeah. It's funny because I was just talking about the Paul Rubens documentary. There's a lot of, I'm sure Paul Rubens saw this, because there's a lot of this in Pee-wee's Playhouse. A lot of it. And I think, I mean, again, I don't know, because spoiler alert, there's no Pauline Kael review for this. So, like, again, I don't know. It's like you said, I don't know how much of a splash it made in the U.S. when it came out. I think it's one of those movies.
What's his name? Bosley
Crowther.
Yeah, he didn't like it at all.
That guy's a stiff fuck.
I agree.
Every time I read a review from him, it honestly disgusts me. It's like, this movie is in poor taste.
You know what he called it?
What?
He said it was pretentious kookiness.
Great. Well, good. I'm into those things. Honestly, too. I mean, I think he's very old school, old fashioned.
I mean,
but
he
like
was.
A lot of his reviews, again, it's like part of the school of criticism where he's like criticizing the way that actresses look and if they're like not skinny, and it's like that kind of just gross, like old man criticism that I can't stand.
Pauline used to do something like that.
Yeah, but at least Pauline's a woman. It just feels, it doesn't feel as gross coming from her.
Yeah,
but yeah,
maybe.
she would sometimes. She's like, her face looks like a frying pan. And you're like, Jesus Christ.
Oh my God. Should we do Sight and Sound?
Yeah. Again, this is one of those movies that you can't.
One more thing I do like is one time they're out with some guy and one of them says something like, we're still maturing, and he freaks out. He's like, how do you mean? Like, I think he thinks for a second that they're underage.
Yeah, I like that.
It's really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, they steal from the bathroom attendant who offers them coffee in the bathroom.
But he's a man.
No, it's a woman.
Oh, it's a woman. You're right. Because it's the two of them versus the world.
They're thing one and thing two. They truly are.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was a touchstone.
Maybe.
Because thing one and thing two are from
Cat in the Hat.
Cat in the Hat. Yeah, okay.
Did they have Cat in the Hat in socialist Czechoslovakia?
I'm sure.
I wouldn't be so sure.
Let me see what year Cat in the Hat was written. I want to say it was...
Yeah, but there's like major censors. I don't know.
1957.
Yeah, but you don't know if it was allowed in the CSR.
I mean, yeah, it's possible. There's definitely a Seuss kind of influence on this.
It's a great thought. I wonder if she saw it. I wish she was alive so I could ask her.
Let's phone a friend.
Ouija board.
Bring. Yeah.
Did you see Cat in the Hat?
I had a Ouija board when I was a kid. And I had a friend growing up who's very kind of religious. And I remember when he found out I had one that I got from like Toys R Us, and it glowed.
They used to sell it.
It glowed in the dark. He made me burn it.
That's so funny. I was terrified of them as a kid. One time I went to a sleepover and they were doing it, and I had to hang out with the mom. Like, I left the room and hung out with the mom.
That so checks out for you. We did one in my garage, and we lit candles at night, and someone cut their hand and smeared a little blood on it.
What?
And then, you know what question they asked
purpose?
it? Yeah. You know what question they asked
Why?
it? They're like, is Greg gay? And then they pushed it towards yes. It's like all this set up for that.
That's too funny.
But But yeah, I don't know how we got on this topic of Ouija boards.
I wanted to phone in.
Oh, right. To ask her. Yeah.
Vera.
And be like, do you still stand by your statement? Yeah, science. Do you want to do sight and sound?
Sure.
What's your favorite sight?
I think my favorite sight is the overhead shot at the banquet. It's a really long shot of them feasting. And it's in color. Anytime the movie's in color, like true color, not like there's like a tint on it, it's really gorgeous. And food.
Especially with the new restoration that was done on this.
It looks so great. Their bedroom looks beautiful. So I think it's that long shot of them just like absolutely devouring.
Yeah.
And drinking Johnny Walker Red Label. Disgusting. Have you ever had that?
No.
It's like gasoline.
Oh, God.
Not good.
It's like scotch. I can't do scotch because it just truly tastes like burnt paint thinner.
Really?
Yeah.
No, good scotch is good.
Maybe I was younger when I had it. Maybe if I tried it again, I would like it. Good
scotch is good.
I'll have it with you sometime. Maybe next time we're at the smokehouse. I'll get a scotch. That's kind of a scotch kind of place, right?
I always have to get the martini.
Oh, I know. Yeah, me too. Because they give you the side. It's like 2 martinis.
Okay, I went there recently and I had to wait for my table. Sorry, this is off topic. Even though I made a reservation, they still made us wait a little because I changed the time. I went to the bar and ordered 2 martinis, one for me, one for Rich. I figured because we don't have a table yet, they're not going to give me the decanter. They did.
Oh, nice.
So then my hands were, I had
occupied.
I had to call him and be like, can you come and grab one?
No, I love it. That's one of the most charming things. Also, if you're such a detour, if you live in LA and you haven't been to the smokehouse in Burbank, you gotta go.
It's so good.
I lived here for too long before I finally went because everyone talks about what's it called? The one on Musso and Frank,
which is also amazing.
Absolutely, it's worth going to. But I like Smokehouse more.
It's different.
I think Smokehouse is more affordable too.
Yeah, it's more. Yeah, it's like Smokehouse is the more casual Musso and Frank.
Yeah,
Smokehouse was a lunch spot, like primarily.
Yeah.
During the studio system.
Yeah, during the height of because it's right across from Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Actually, you know, this all does fit in because we're talking about food. It's right in.
Food.
They do. I love the Smokehouse. I truly love the Smokehouse. And it's one of those places in LA where you go and it feels like you're in the 40s still.
It's busy though. Like that time I went with Rich, we had to wait even though I had a reservation. Like it was really busy.
What time of day?
It was Friday night or Saturday night. Like packed. And it made me happy because I never want that place to close.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah. And then Tam O'Shanter is its own thing altogether.
That's also cozy.
Yeah, it is cozy.
I love old
Whimsical.
restaurants. Yeah.
I know. Old restaurants are the best.
I love them.
My favorite sight,
oh my God,
the runner-up was them putting together the broken dishes, like when they're setting the plates.
I love that.
Piecing together the broken dishes. I love that. But ultimately, I have a combined sight and sound. And I think because it was early on in the film and it just wooed me. But they do it a couple times in this movie where the camera is on train tracks traveling and it kind of changes colors and it kind of blurs. And I just thought it was very arresting. And again, this movie is so full of arresting imagery, but I loved that. And I loved what's playing while you see this. So here it is. Love it.
My favorite sound is actually the footsteps when they're looking for when they stumble upon the banquet. They're in their own building, by the way, and they're taking the dumbwaiter up and down.
Oh yeah, love that.
But the footsteps are crisp, like it was like on purpose. Take a listen.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to get away from a crisp
Footsteps, particularly in the 60s.
Yes.
Like,
I will say I forgot about the dumbwaiter scene, and it's incredible because it's almost like a tour of the movie itself. Like they get on the dumbwaiter and there's a big sign on it that says like not for people. And they're traveling up and down, and like you see them pass a symphony, and then there's someone cutting meat.
Yeah.
And it's like all the different things. It's just so cool.
This movie is really, really cool.
Yeah. Honestly, that's the best word for it. Cool.
I think zany.
Yeah. I think a lot of Silver Lake peeps have kind of made this movie their like vibe.
Yeah.
Their whole aesthetic.
I wonder how many girls in Silver Lake have the poster of this movie on their wall.
Oh yeah. It's the new Amelie.
Oh, even though it's older.
Yeah. But because more people are discovering it later, it's probably a better movie than Amelie too. I don't know. I'm kind of afraid to go back and rewatch Amelie.
It's too cute for you, I think.
Yeah, it was kind of baby's first foreign film for a lot of us back when it came out. Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting how certain movies just become touchstones for a certain generation.
Yeah.
And I think this movie is in the
now generation, even though it's from the 60s.
The artsy crowd, sort of slightly bohemian.
I would buy a t-shirt. I would buy a t-shirt.
I know Chloe Sevigny says of Picnic at Hanging Rock that she like based her whole vibe off that movie. So that movie was for another generation, Gen X. I don't know. It was like
Picnic at Hanging Rock.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like I said, this is where we would normally do Pauline, but we don't have a Pauline Kael for this.
That's sad.
Which instead leads us, and honestly, I don't know that she would have liked this, I think.
I can't tell with her anymore.
I like how we've done like 140, 150 episodes of this show. And even at this point, we're like, we can't tell what Pauline would like or not like. And I think that's what keeps us people on their toes about Pauline.
Yes.
But now we turn to Letterboxd.
Sure. This one cracked me up. 5 stars. This film could definitely kill the queen.
4 stars. This is like every intrusive thought I've ever had playing all at once.
I love that. 5 stars. The hardest the girlies have ever girlied.
I saw that one. 5 stars. A boy in my film class who was wearing a Spider-Man t-shirt declared this film as the worst film I've ever seen.
Oh my God. That's it. That's so funny. Okay, this one's serious. 3.5 stars. Debauchery and disregard are perfectly suitable reactions to the debate of nihilism. If nothing matters, then neither do our actions. If everything matters, then so do our actions. And it's nice to feel like we matter, even if we leave a mess in our wake. Authoritarianism is easy to spot in its more dramatic movements, but it's the way it operates subtly that manages to control and ultimately kill us. It's the need for order and neatness, enforcing manners at a dinner table, shushing someone having fun. By trampling on trifles, they trample rebellions. Teach a kid to be polite, and you teach them to be subservient. This is the second Czechoslovakian new wave I've seen, and I swear they were from the future out there. Bold and interesting 60 years later.
Hey, they're on something though.
That sounded like an Anthony Bourdain review.
How?
Just the way that he's so eloquent and like, you do this and it's done like this.
Yeah. He could be, for sure. 0.5 star. Persona, but make it goofy.
I don't see that at all.
This is an unemployed girl's favorite film.
That's funny.
This one cracked me up too. 0.5 star. The fuck? I think it's tied with Sans Soleil. Like, just funny because we did that one too.
Well, that's hilarious. That is really funny.
I have one more that also 0.5 star. Saved all the good ones for last. If you like this movie, you're either A, gaslighting yourself into thinking it's good because it's labeled as feminist and you want to be supportive of the movement, or B, have a food fetish.
It reminds me of a thing in Seinfeld. Remember when George is trying to combine sex and food?
Yes.
Like eats a sandwich.
Yeah, eats a sandwich. He has a sandwich next to the bed. So fucking funny. Pastrami, because it's the most sensuous of meats, right?
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. Yeah. I do love pastrami. Do you like pastrami?
Yeah.
Do you like the hat?
Yeah.
Oh, so good. Well, That's going to conclude Daisies.
Do Daisies. That's going to, yeah.
So you don't think it should be, you think maybe the top 100 is a little high for this?
I mean, I don't think it should be 28.
Right. But you think I mean, it's hard to say. Sometimes placement's a little hard. I would just say the top 100 is the top 100. Do I think it should be on the top 100? Yeah. I think too, especially with the newer list pushing towards other voices. Like we said, the 2012 list was so much white European men telling these stories. And now we're getting women, we're getting people of color, much more films, a much wider diversity, group of films. So that is nice. But I think as of now, I loved this. So I would say, yeah, top 100. And I think too, because you can see its influence.
I agree. I'm cool with it being on the I'm cool with it being on the top.
Right. 100. You're just saying 28's high, which is fair.
Yeah.
Well, next week we are doing Jordan Peele's Get Out.
We are?
Yeah, Get Out is next week.
You know what? So every film we've done has been like by an previously unrepresented group.
Yeah, true.
It's really interesting.
It just goes to show you the push with the new list. Yeah. I think it's very exciting.
You know, I've never seen it. Because when it came out, I was like, this is a horror movie. I'm not going to see it. And I didn't see it.
Well, now you're going to see it.
Yeah. It's scary, huh?
It's a horror movie, kind of, yeah.
All right.
So come back next week. Join us for that as Jackie sits through yet another horror film. I feel like you do that. You have to do this like once a year. It's like you did The Shining. You did Midsommar.
Shining doesn't count.
What?
It's not. It doesn't count.
It absolutely counts.
It's a thriller.
No, that's horror.
Maybe. I don't know.
It didn't scare you, maybe, but it's a horror movie. Anyway, come back for Get Out next week. Until then, I'm Greg.
I'm Jackie.
And we'll see you at the Smokehouse.
Seen and Heard is an official podcast of the Arroyo Film Club. We'd love to hear from you. If you want to drop us a line, you can find us on email at hello@seenandheardpod.com or on Instagram @seenandheardpod.